Cash is a former criminal now living a peaceful life on a farm with his niece Savannah and her father Finney. Cash's younger sister died a few years ago, and the widowed Finney is still struggling with the loss. After his morning workout, Cash heads to the neighboring house to talk to Savannah and remind her father, Finney, about the household chores. While managing the farm, Cash not only has to clean up manure but also help give birth to a horse, as the foal is in danger, as every minute counts. Later, Savannah and Cash go to church for the Sunday service. Finney still feels guilty about his wife's death, so he refuses to go to church and promises to join them for lunch at a cafe. The preacher, Wilder, was once a criminal and part of the same gang as Cash, but that's all in the past now. The preacher left his criminal life behind after finding God. Cash, however, quit his criminal activities only after his sister died from drugs he used to sell. At the cafe, Cash notices that Finney didn't keep his word, so he steps out to call him. Meanwhile, small-time crooks under the command of Big Cat, the city's main mobster, decide to mock Savannah. Spotting the thugs Buck and Doe, Cash asks them to let the girl go and talk to him instead. It turns out Finney borrowed $100,000 from Big Cat to maintain the farm and now can't pay it back. Buck and Doe remind Cash of the debt, threatening serious trouble if it's not repaid. Back home, Cash talks to Finney and learns that he took out a bank loan, but Big Cat's son Zach works as the bank manager. Essentially, Big Cat now owns their farm and can evict the family if they don't settle the debt. Meanwhile, two small-time hooligans, Reggie and Harlan, find a hidden drug lab. They decide to steal powerful substances, but Reggie falls into a trap with sharp stakes and dies. Harlan, losing his friend, tries to escape but gets caught in a trap and is taken hostage by the lab's guards. Cash goes to the bank to talk to Zach and resolve the family's financial issues. It turns out the thugs aren't interested in money and will take the farm anyway because Big Cat doesn't want cash. She's interested in something else. At the same time, Buck and Doe arrive at the farm to talk to Finney and remind him of the debt. Several thugs severely beat Finney and drag him outside. Savannah tries to defend herself and injures Doe's face but ends up a hostage. Buck fires a shot near Finney's ear, giving him a final warning to repay the debt or hand over the farm soon. After learning what happened, Cash goes to the police station for help. The sheriff and his deputy, Duke, are powerless because they need evidence to put Big Cat behind bars. Later, Cash meets with Big Cat and learns that she is not interested in money or his farm. The mobster is willing to forgive the debt, but only if Cash completes 3 tasks for her. Accepting the bandits' terms, Cash returns home and asks Finney to quit drinking, think about his daughter, and start living for her. Big Cat interrogates the captive Harlan to find out who he works for. The guy pleads for forgiveness and claims he is a lone wolf who decided to rob the drug dealers. The woman believes him and releases him, but not before cutting off one of his fingers. Soon, Cash gets a phone call and learns that he and Buck have to go on the first mission. They need to track Harlan and make sure he poses no threat. Cash approaches the guy's house and realizes it's a gang preparing an armed assault on Big Cat's house to avenge Reggie's death. After waiting for backup, Cash, Buck, and a few other thugs storm the house. In the ensuing shootout, only one opponent survives, but Cash neutralizes him near the back door. Doe executes the thug because Cash's gun was unloaded. The next day, Cash spends time with his family, teaching Finney to hunt and his niece how to process the catch. Near dawn, Cash gets a phone call about the second task for Big Cat to pay off the debt. Cash and 2 other thugs go to a drug deal. Big Cat suspects one of them is a traitor who switched sides to a competitor, and Cash must find out who it is. Upon arriving at the meeting place, one thug executes the other, guessing that he works for the competitors. The buyers with the money are expected any minute. Cash hides the body in the van and sends a text message from the deceased's phone to warn about the change in participants from their side. However, the arriving competitor senses something is off, leading to a shootout. Cash kills 2 aggressive buyers and wounds a third, then proposes to honor the deal. Sparing the guy's life, Cash hands over the goods and takes the money. Later, Cash meets Finney to switch cars and destroy the van with the body. Returning home, Cash confesses to Finney that he's doing dirty work for the thugs to gain freedom and get the farm back, with only one task left. Sometime later, Cash meets with Deputy Sheriff Duke to plan Big Cat's exposure, realizing the mobster will likely deceive him. Cash is ready to do anything to send Big Cat to jail. Soon after, Duke returns to work and stops Big Cat's courier. The girl acts erratically, so Duke arrests her, finding a stash of drugs in the trunk. In the evening, Duke asks Cash to pinpoint drug production sites on a map, promising it will be enough to imprison Big Cat. That night, Big Cat invites Cash to her home, where dozens of criminals gather to watch a real show. It turns out Big Cat found out about Duke's plan to arrest her and kidnap the cop. She orders Buck and Doe to break the captive's knees and then asks for advice on what to do with him. Cash tries to save the deputy and suggests taking him to the woods, but Big Cat gets furious and executes the unfortunate Duke, then throws his body to her dogs. Disposing of the remains of the cop is Cash's third task. He naively believes he can gain freedom, but Big Cat has no intention of letting go of a true professional. The next morning, Big Cat learns that Cash was working with Duke and tried to expose her. While Cash is marking the drug production sites on the map, the thugs track Finney and his daughter. Finney goes to church for the first time, but it's in vain because Buck and Doe are already waiting for him there. The thugs brutally beat Savannah's father and try to kidnap the girl, but Wilder drives them away. Cash learns what happened and rushes to the hospital. Unfortunately, he arrives too late as Finney dies from his injuries. Vowing to avenge his relative, Cash prays and asks God for strength to become a punishing hand for the criminals who dared to hurt his family. Starting his plan, Cash heads to the first location where he encounters Doe and his buddy. With a couple of precise shots, Cash kills both thugs but loses consciousness after colliding with a car. Regaining consciousness, Cash tries to escape but can't find the car keys. Spotting the approaching Buck, Cash hides in the woods, but soon everyone learns that he cold-bloodedly dealt with two thugs. Buck and several criminals head to Wilder's house and severely beat the preacher. Savannah steps out of hiding and voluntarily surrenders to the thugs. Teaming up, Wilder and Cash set out to take revenge and rescue the girl. First, they visit the bank and kidnap Zach, then propose an equal exchange of Savannah for Zach to Big Cat. Having been refused, Cash approaches Big Cat's house through the woods, taking out several guards along the way. Meanwhile, Wilder drives up to Big Cat's house with her son tied to the car hood as a human shield. Savannah frees her hands from the ropes, grabs a shotgun, and shoots the thug guarding her. The gunshot makes the thugs nervous, and they decide to act aggressively. They attack Wilder from all sides, trying to shoot the preacher hiding behind the car. Meanwhile, Buck tries to catch Savannah hiding in the house. The girl shoots back but soon runs out of ammo with nowhere else to run. At this point, Cash breaks into the house and attacks Buck. In an unequal fight, Cash gets seriously wounded but kills the thug. Zach breaks free and runs away, then wounds Wilder. After being shot in the leg by the preacher, Zach falls to the ground and dies, becoming food for his mother's dogs. Wilder engages in a gunfight with the last thug and wins the fight but suffers more injuries. Enraged, Big Cat returns to the house to take revenge on Cash for the loss of her last son. She wounds the opponent, making it impossible for him to stand up. Realizing it's over for him, Cash asks his niece to run away. However, the brave girl decides to save her uncle and attacks Big Cat from behind, plunging a large knife into her head. Several months later, a recovered Wilder returns to his ministry at the church, while Cash, having healed his wounds, enjoys working on the farm and raising his beloved niece.